don't think that's funny.
Well, no, it was, because what it did was it helped take a situation that was very, very, very traumatic in the past. So the
Oh,
trauma of
Jared.
reality.
Jared.
Yeah, yeah, no. The antagonist in the story. So the antagonist in the story had been very problematic, and this is the reality. It's like when you look at the antagonist in
And you
a
got to go because they're going to cut you off.
Oh no, we're live. We're
Oh,
live.
we are live. Oh,
We're live.
okay.
Yeah. So
Hi,
the
everybody. We're
Hi.
live.
We're talking about antagonists in our lives.
Yeah.
Because there are many. Everyone's got an antagonist, or two, or three, or four. Ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer living in the reality of the Waltons or the Bradys. The Partridge family has gone to sleep, and the Addams family is more of a reality. So when you take that character in your life, okay, so again, the title of the show is Making the Most of the Meteor Show. So when there's a meteor coming to Earth, I was told by a very good friend that I am like a epic meteorite. I can't remember exactly what his words were, but like, oh my God. I felt so amazing. And then I remembered the movie Armageddon. Do you remember that movie, Kitty?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember when the scientist discovered the meteor and he had but one request? He asked if he could name the meteor after his wife, Dottie, because she's a bloodthirsty beep who has come to ruin his world or something like that. And I laughed because characters in my story would definitely label me as less than exponential joy. And that's okay. It's really okay because I'm not everybody's cup of tequila or tea or coffee or whatever. And that's okay. I'm open to discussion about my moralities, my values, my compass. I'm very open to that. Welcome to the shit show. Because some days that's what happens when your character gets attacked, as has yours been.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just this year.
And,
There's
and I
a
mean,
whole new level of narcissism. Yeah. Mhm.
that was vile, and whenever I think of my travels, I'm creating some amazing paint night vision boards. It's a freaking epic project. Spirit had me up painting this morning. Oh my God, I've had so much fun. And in understanding how we're layered and put together. So
Yeah.
I'm not always this bright, sunshiny day. When you attack me, I instinctively go back into patterns, subconscious behaviors. I'm like, what did I'm wait, can you say that again? I didn't quite hear you the first time.
Let me check what I heard versus what I feel I heard. That is
Mhm,
always a
mhm.
good thing to do.
Right, very much so, because otherwise we can come in very fierce and hard and rash, be like, "What you say? Oh, no, you didn't." "Oh, no, I did." It's like, "Oh, okay. I can understand how you would have that reflection of me.
Mhm.
I can understand that."
Well, it's very well, first of all, astrologically, which is why I come on to chat, um, we have Mars in Cancer. That's a native placement for me. Mine's in the 7th house. And Mars in Cancer is pivotal, just what you're talking about. Somebody says something, first I got to check in. Did I hear it? You know, just like when I was a teacher, my line is, excuse me? Like, oh, that is what you said, all right. Is
Mm.
and what you mean is this, right? Because I do actually check in the meeting because I really don't know what goes on in other people's brains. Most of us don't, and yet we think we do. Well, I know she said that because as soon as somebody says that to you, you
Oh, and
do
right?
not know, right?
If I said to you, "Oh, Kitty, you're such a peach pit."
Yeah, I'd go. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, a peach pit is that amazing, and it depends upon which way I'm using it. I can say it nicely.
Yeah,
The peach pit is that beautiful opportunity to plant a seed in the ground and watch it grow. You inspire me with everything that you do. A peach pit is also something that you probably shouldn't swallow because it'll choke you and scrape on the way down.
right. And it's what's left over after somebody's eaten, so it's often discarded. So,
Well,
and
I
for
mean,
me,
imagine pooping that baby out, right?
ugh, no. Imagine the tummy ache trying to break it down. Um, and so with this Mars placement, it's this pivotal energy. Which room am I going to walk in and out of? And where Mars is in your chart at this particular moment is often, um, with Mars in Cancer, a place of great protection. As one astrologer I heard it described as strike before being struck energy, in its kind of real dense form, because it doesn't know what to nurture, so it gets real defensive. And of course, Mars is an action. So if you don't know what action to take, you know, a good defense is better than an offense kind of thing.
Absolutely, you've got to move out of the way.
Right.
You have to move out of the way of the meteor because when meteors strike, their trajectory is so strong that when a person is out of control in an anger rage, I've gone blackout rage before. And I mean, it was just like you don't even, I didn't even remember what I had said, but I meant every word that I said in the most atrocious way. I've also done the same in the positive perspective.
Hmm. Well, and it's very interesting how people do that. I have a sister that said to me, we were talking about something that had happened in our family over a text, and it was between a brother and a sister kind of thing. Okay, without, it's not my story to tell that part.
Exactly.
And she said to me, "Oh, you say all kinds of things in text you don't mean." And I'm on the other end of the phone going, "I don't." She went, "What?" I said, "I never, ever say something in text I don't mean. Now, it might be misinterpreted what I mean." There was no misinterpreting this particular conversation. Um,
Mm.
it, with the, and I said, "It might be misinterpreted, and I'm happy to explain it, but I never will take the time to write something in a text that I don't mean." And she was
Mhm.
real quiet there. And I thought, you mean there are people that actually like spew something and think later, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that? Really? There's the meteor shower. Like you said, you're not getting out of the way. You're
Well, I've learned to be very diligent in my words, spoken words and written words, because the things that I have said and written have been used in the court against me. So I'm very cautious about that, whether that is the court of public humiliation or the literal court of justice. So, and I think that we all need to slow the train down. We don't need to buy the train and all the tickets to the train station, right? Just back it up a little bit. And that's whereby one of the things that I want us to talk about today is the continuation of what you're talking about, but why it is so important to have an understanding of your own astrology
mhm.
and how to use that in your life. Because it's not something that everybody can just speak and understand, is it?
um, yes and no. Yes, you can understand it, and no, it doesn't mean it's innately. It's something to take a look at. It's a tool to look at what are you here doing, just what you're talking about. Because it is slowing the roll down to look at. So right now, this Mars placement, where it is in your chart, mine happens to be in the seventh house of relationship. Yippee skippy. Um, because that's all you're ever in is
I'm gonna grab my
relationship.
chart.
Okay. Um, that is an area that right now I can have extra need for protection around and be aware of that I could be in the either strike or be striked mindset, that energy. And in Mars in my chart, that would be a place then that perhaps my goals coming with this new moon on the 2nd would be around some self-awareness of that, and relationships are difficult. That's happens to be
So
the area in my chart.
so
So,
we look at where Mars is on our natal chart, the
in your
chart that we
natal
were
chart, yeah.
born. So for me, Mars is in Capricorn, which is I master. So my career, culture, mastery, father energy.
Which is
And
so
because
funny because Capricorn is actually feminine. So, get that.
well, I was like the mother and the father often with my children, and I can be both at times. So you said Cancer in Cancer?
It's in Cancer right now.
So
So,
do I look at what's in my chart in Cancer as well?
look at both of those houses.
Oh my gosh. So Cancer for me is I nurture. So it oh my gosh. So that's home, family, ancestral roots, and mothers. So right now I am like a meteor. Mess with my family and I'll chop down your tree. Yes?
And what houses are those two? Because the houses is the area of your life the conversation takes place in. So where's your natal Cancer?
Okay,
What
so my natal Cancer is in 9.
Okay, so it's about higher learning. And where is your natal Mars?
My natal Mars is in 3.
So how interesting is this? This is about higher learning and how you communicate and respond and experience things. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh my god! It's like I knew that instinctively, and I know things instinctively, and yet I am such a seeker of knowledge. I mean,
Well,
I
and
remember
right
when I
now
started your
that
course. When I
right,
started your course, I'm like, I bought those 3 books. Can't remember what the books are, but they're on my shelf in the astrology section. And every once in a while, I open them up. Something about North Node.
yeah, North Node astrology, yeah, was
You
one
you
of
you
them.
recommended them to me, and
Yeah.
I bought them. Um, so we've got this period. What's next?
Well, what's those are the areas that you're most protective of, which also means you could be in that denser expression of strike before being struck. So those are the areas too. And of course, it is I, shocking. I know. That's for everyone, and that's what the world is in. That kind of strike or be struck, and so it is very much about higher learning about that in your life.
Mhm.
And how am I third house is communication. How am I going to respond? How and some of that means we go to the opposite piece. That means I need not to respond. It means I
Yes.
need not to learn. I need to sit with it and not look for an answer. So it's kind of that's the protective part to get the
Well,
perception.
and that's where it is so important to go to your room.
Hmm.
Go to your room. 'Cause I see myself often child, teenager, young mother, middle-aged mother, cougar. My spirit animal that started speaking to me this morning, was so interesting. I'm like, "What is this? Like, why am I walking this way? Weird." Jaguar? Hmm. Focus on what you want with clear and unequivocal intention and stay with it to successful conclusion. You're going to experience an awakening or a deepening of your psychic vision. You've been very patient and you're just about to manifest the key to prosperity and beneficial outcomes. So, as soon as the next opportunity appears, take a leap and go for it. Keep your plans and intentions to yourself, not to be secretive, but so they will gain power and your intention and purpose become even clearer.
Right.
So it's when we sit alone in our room, because I can go crazy.
I can be overloaded if I don't sit alone in my room. And
Yes.
then I can't figure out what to do anyway. I actually went to a class last night. It's a wonderful class. And anyone who knows me, you know me, Nance. I didn't say a word. Not the whole class. Didn't volunteer any information, didn't ask for a reading. I just couldn't and wouldn't and didn't want to. I just wanted to be there. The energy was great, and it was all I could do just to participate that way.
Yep.
I was seriously turning off my mind. It was very interesting to me is that one thing that's come to me during this. And now, by the way, Cancer in Mars in Cancer is going to be with us for a while
How
because
long?
it moves to Leo
Oh, meow.
for a short, very short period of time, and then Mars retrogrades back into Cancer.
What?
Mars doesn't retrograde a little more than every 2 years. The last time it retrograde, we were in Gemini for 7 months. We get a little bit of break because we get a little Leo in there,
When's the
aligning
break?
for ourselves, and
When's the
then
break?
goes back into Cancer. So
May I ask when the break is?
I think it's December 6th, 5th or 6th that
Oh, that's nice.
that it steps into Leo. I'm going to double check that it steps into Leo and then it retrogrades and it will go back
Right before
into
Christmas?
Yeah, yes, it is. Because that's when
And
you
then
want to
and then New
strike.
Year's,
Yeah.
because I love New Year's. I love New Year's. I love Christmas. I love New Year's, and I wasn't like that for a couple of years. After Emily passed, I'm like, Christmas is stupid, New Year's sucks. Now I realize the blessed opportunity to spend time with family. I've already bought Christmas gifts. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And birthday gifts because my granddaughters are birthdays of December, January. So it's like a total eclipse of the financial structure. And I'm
I guess. Yeah.
and I don't buy a lot of gifts. I am the gift and my time is very important. Nevertheless, when January comes and we look at our resolutions, how many of you kept your resolutions?
I never make a resolution anymore.
Do you do any goal setting around January?
No. Um, what I do now instead is
Mhm.
I pick words of the year that I'm going to work
That's
with.
right. I remember mine. Mine was sparkles.
Okay. Mine was confidence and courage last year. And
Hmm.
understanding, 3 I picked. Um, because what I found is picking a goal or um, something like that was became about the goal versus what the need was. What had I identified for the new year to do? And I often, when I pick a word, pick something to look at, to try, set a period around. Um, and so resolutions are, I mean, people don't make it 2 weeks. I'm gonna correct myself. Mars goes in to Leo on the 3rd of November. It's the 6th that it retrogrades
Of November.
of November. It retrograde no of December. So we've got almost a month of Mars in Leo, and then it retrogrades and will head back into Cancer in
So
January, and it will be there till March.
tell me about Mars and Leo because I am Canadian, you are American.
Hmm.
So therefore we have two different voting structures because you've got voting in your country in November, right
November,
around that time.
right as Mars is going in. The election is the 5th, and Mars goes into Leo on the 3rd. So
Okay.
Mars
So what does that mean when Mars goes into
so
Leo?
Mars is the ultimate start of energy.
Hmm.
It is the first house on the zodiac. It is the ultimate cardinal energy. It is the spark of the match. Hence why it's often assigned very patriarchal war. And it is about our will, but that doesn't mean it has to be war. It has to be, there's a difference between Mars being the warrior and the
Mhm.
war itself. And that is a very patriarchal structure, war. I actually just posted a nice, interesting thing from an indigenous gentleman about growing up in 2 cultures about that. And um, it is the warrior, though, and which is means I'm going to really hold on to who I am, the beginning, holding what I hope to be have for value. And so in Leo is the ultimate creative sign of what moves us forward, ourself. So
Mm.
is aligning with who we are and what we want. Um, I personally think it's a great position for the American election. You
It
know,
really is. It really is because when we think of elections and the choice that we have to vote, not everyone has that choice
hmm
because I believe that from my best understanding that if you're incarcerated, you cannot vote. Is that correct?
I think in the United States that is correct. It's not a system, that piece of the system I don't know a lot about.
No,
Um,
but I think when you enter that zone where you lose many of your freedoms, that is one of them as well. And when we look at the freedom to vote, the freedom to speak, the freedom to read, all of these freedoms are what we often understand from what we're taught in school. I find that really interesting. And I'm learning so much about the American structure from my American friends because here in Canada it's different. We don't have the same structure because, um, oh my goodness, who's that really neat guy with the hat that was a president?
Abraham Lincoln,
Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, yeah. See, I like him. Honest Abe. Why was he called honest?
because he could not, well, he was known to be say what he meant, and even when it wasn't popular.
But he still said it nicely. Say what you
Kind.
mean,
Yes, he
say
said it
yeah,
kindly. He was a kind
and
man. He was a
okay.
kind,
Okay.
simple man. Yes.
And did he develop one side of the like was he a party holder? Is that the right word?
Well, the political parties back then were associated. They're actually, interestingly enough, kind of switched philosophies. So, talk about when you look at the history of the two-party system. There was also a third part. There's always been a wisp of a third party. There used to be a party called the Whig Party. Yeah,
Wig? Like
WHIG. Yeah, no,
okay.
WHIG. Um, and that was the predecessor. I don't want to get this wrong. I'm not sure which one. I think the Republican Party. Um, and you know, one of the things is that when you are elected in the United States, the Constitution is what
Yes.
you're upholding, and or not upholding, challenging. Um,
What
and
what do you what why would you challenge the Constitution? Is that not been written in like how long has it been in
since we were infants, like the first 5 years of our country,
my God.
and their interpretation of what that is, um, that's
Oh, okay.
that's the diametrically opposition of what does freedom mean. Some people have very limited, only certain people should be free. Some people in our country, it is possible to just die because you can't get medical care,
I know.
which um and um what does it mean for freedom? Where is our responsibility with other human beings? That's part of the debate. And it's such an interesting time for me. I'm going to go back to making the most of your Meteor show.
Yeah.
Who you align yourself with is the world you're creating realistically. So if you align yourself
Always.
with
Always.
chaos, blustering, non-truth, and you get so overwhelmed that you won't even do your own work, you sweep things away. Well, it's my favorite thing is when people say the media. You're the media. You are the
I
media.
know.
What
I
you
know. I
consume
know.
is media.
What you consume. It's so very, very true. I was at a beautiful event here in Edmonton, Womanition Connect, and it was a group of lovely ladies. We get together once a month here in Edmonton, once a month in Calgary, once a month in Sherwood Park, once a month in Red Deer. There's 4 chapters. And at times people get the opportunity to speak because they bring a gift or they're a keynote speaker. And the keynote speaker, I was just like gobbled by her intelligence. Psychologist who spoke about not just narcissism, Kitty, but the other bipolar, like there were several diagnoses because you need to be diagnosed as a narcissist. We all have narcissistic tendencies. You need to be diagnosed as this. And it's not about understanding other people's diagnoses, it's about understanding your own diagnosis
Mhm.
and your own tendencies.
Right.
But right? Like what when you look at your own history, because we're talking about history,
Mhm.
when you look at your own history, where have you behaved in a way that was less than the best possible version of yourself? What brought that about? Was it a fear? Was it a betrayal? What
Was it
destructive emotion?
right, was it just non-awareness that there's anything else to be like too? Sometimes that comes from how
Look
you
at
were
right.
raised, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Our beliefs, the ones
Yeah.
that our parents gave us, the ones that our teachers gave us, the ones that we were fed by a information system, whether that is um, the information system on the internet or the information system on microfiche back in time, and then how we processed it.
Well, and that's so interesting because 'cause we're talking about a meteor show, and when I watch a meteor show, how I align myself with those lights and what they're doing,
Mm.
ultimately, as AI evolves, as these things evolve, um, like listening to your, speaker, you have to learn to trust yourself and understand your values. And if you align yourself clearly with people who do not see their value, or you
Mhm.
don't see your values as matching, asking them to be your leader or putting your life in them is kind of like, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Oh gosh, and I mean, that comes right down to the corporate structure of where you're working,
Mhm.
the collaborations that you are spending more time with. In the last 2 years, as I've continued podcasting more and more, I've had guests that are wonderful, guests that are no longer a part of my life, guests that I come back to every Wednesday. Um, every Friday I have the opportunity to be on the Mental Health Warriors. I go on there often, and I haven't been on there for a little while because I've had to force my attention, just confine it. Force is the wrong word. Spirit's like, it's not forcing. It's, do you ever put those Mentos in a bottle of Coca-Cola? Remember
I've
doing that in
seen them, but
school?
my son has
Yeah,
done that, yeah.
it's really neat. And it will erupt. I needed to take the Mentos out of my bottle of Coca-Cola because I
Mhm.
had too many commitments on my plate. So I had to be very careful as to who I was aligning myself with. And not because I don't love them, I don't have the time
Yes, or the energy,
or the energy. Yeah.
right, and that is part of what this awakening, as we talk about charts, this Mars and Cancer is with Jupiter and Gemini. We have a huge amount of things moving to Aries in 2025, which is all this same spark energy, all this that's Mars, that's the ruler of Mars. And well, actually, Mars is the ruler of Aries, um, is this new beginning energy with our structures, new beginning energy with spirit. We are ending a 164-year cycle for the planet of Neptune in 2025. It starts a new 164-year cycle.
My Chiron is in Aries.
And Chiron is in Aries right now. And Chiron in Aries is
So my,
about
my Chiron is in Aries as well. So how interesting that that's in my chart as well. It's like the whole global perspective is me.
being our authentic self, removing masks. So, again, when you look at creating your own reality, look for the, excuse the expression, yeah buts in your life. The yeah buts. Well,
I'll ask the remote
I don't
control
really
lady.
like her. Yeah, but she can. Wait a minute. Stop right there. You don't really agree and like her, and she doesn't feed your soul.
Yeah,
Where's the yeah but?
I lost the remote control.
You did?
I was the last person to touch the remote control, the one for the TV.
Mm-hmm.
I have moved things in my living room this morning because I'm taking responsibility for it. It's in the house somewhere. I don't know where. And Ralph is very meticulous about where he puts things. Well, I was the last one to use it. And I'm accepting responsibility that I was the last one to use it. I am not taking global authority for the fact that, like, all of the conundrum of not having a remote control. Like, we have to get up and push the button to turn it off, which I didn't do last night. I just went to bed because I went to bed. I didn't turn off the TV. The light was
Yeah.
bothering him. It could have been a global catastrophe because TVs and remote controls can make people flip out. I'm doing what I can to find it. If I do not find it by the end of the day, I'm going to do the next best thing. I'm gonna
Universal.
order one.
Yeah. Universal remote. Yep.
Universal remote, and it's not that remote, and I know the buttons aren't there. And yet, my greatest desire at this time in my life is peace. And at times, I will peace out. Peace out. And I'm just like, peace out. I'm not going there. And I'm walking out the door. Where are you going? For a walk. I'm wearing my radical gratitude toque, and I'm leaving.
Yep. Going for a walk. One of the greatest lines I ever learned was from a psychologist when somebody's really losing and continuing to go about something. She taught me this sentence: help me to understand. I've identified I'm responsible. I'm looking for the remote. If I don't find it today, I'm going to get a new remote. Help me to understand what else it is you would like to hear come out of this. It so quickly defuses people because you're not coming back at them. You're like, help me to understand
Help
what
me help
else.
you.
Yeah.
That's a line from a movie, isn't it? Help me help you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I like this. Just help me to understand. I don't know what else I can do.
Mhm.
I've taken responsibility. I'm looking for it. Hi, Joanne. I'm looking for it. I am identifying steps I'm going to take. Help me to understand what else it is that you're looking for. And it really does diffuse people because it puts it back on them. At first they go, "What we did?" Oh, okay. It's like you've diffused it. There's no more for me to end. Then I can go for a walk. Peace out. If you want to keep going on it, I've done my part.
And there's two fingers in peace out.
Yeah. Yeah.
One's pointing at you
Yeah.
this way. The other one, well, do the math.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. When you point at somebody, if they continue to go, all these other fingers are pointing back at you because this is about you
Mhm.
now. I've
And
done
it's
my part.
take
I'm
responsibility for your behavior. Take responsibility for where you're at.
I love what Adam said. We are all universal remotes and we can do magical things when we put our mindset to it. That is true.
Yeah. Pause.
Hmm.
Walk
That's
out.
that's a great sentence to help pause. Help me to understand what else is there. And then I can disengage because I've said, all right, you know, I remember learning this and some real angry parents about something with school, blah, blah, and to say, well, help me understand. We're going to try this and this. What else is it that you need me to acknowledge or say? And you'd see them go, okay, I guess I need to be done. You've already, or you said you aren't going to
Or
do
you're not
this.
listening to me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes what I want you to hear, I am not able to hear the response I want to hear. Therefore, the response is not, you're not listening. And it's like,
Right. That's why when you
diffuse.
that's why when you say it, you say, and sometimes there is, well, what about this? Oh, okay, let me add that. All right. Because I may have missed something, but it keeps me in a response mode rather than a, hey, you're coming at me and blah, blah, blah. And, I didn't mean to do it and have to defend, of course you didn't
Well,
mean to do it.
school policies are not the direction of a teacher. School policies are directed by the governing board,
Yeah.
boards, And there's only so much that a teacher has the capacity to do. And then there's the financial barriers of what a teacher is able to do and the amount of money that's put into the system, because the system is spending money on other things.
Well,
We ain't going there though.
and sometimes it's that it can't be done. It isn't a reasonable thing in a class of 28 people that I'm going to call you every night. I can set up something where I send you something home, whatever, you know. I mean, I've had parents send back a corrected paper to say, I don't know why this is wrong. Okay. So I either tell them and then they come back in and it's like, okay, help me to understand. I answered your
What grade
question.
were you teaching again?
First, second, and third.
And teachers would, it's to parents, adult parents would come back and fight for their children's grades in 1, 2, and 3. Perhaps they're the ones that needed to go back to school. Ugh. My opinion, take it or leave it. I don't care if you do.
Well,
Not you,
it's,
everyone.
you know, right. It's people when they are, what's the word I want? Advocating, they think for their child. And I'm not going to say there are all teachers out there that want what's best for their child, but there's a good portion of them. And we may not agree with what that looks like. You may think that I'm supposed to let your child do this in the classroom. And I'm going to say it's really distracting to the rest of the group. I can try to do this, or I always had a space that if a child really just couldn't do something, if they moved to that space, they didn't have to do it because they had taken responsibility that they needed to break, you know. And
oh, look at Joanne. She's such an angel. Nancy, I love the part of your quote from the Spotlight interview, know when to talk and when to listen. I'm going to be speaking about the experience of death doula, which sounds like such a dark experience. Everybody, please tune in.
I'm planning to be there tonight. I did listen to the replay of the other speaker, so yeah.
Being a death doula is like being a birth doula, and you're birthing an opportunity to be beyond the veil.
So Nancy is on tonight at 8 or 7. What are you on at?
What time zone are we talking about?
Eastern Standard Time. Joanne, you can put it down. Anyway, she's on a spotlight interview for 30 minutes to get to know a little bit more about Nancy and Death Doula. It's going to be on Joanne Angelberry Colin's and also the Holistic Fitness. It's also on her YouTube channel. I will be reposting it on Intuition of the Soul. Nancy will be reposting it. If you want to join the Zoom, that's tonight.
I love the format that Joanne has for us too, because it is a chit chat, open interview style. I've got some other summits that I'm coming on where I'm talking about paradigm shifts. That's when I'm doing one about regret.
3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I was way off. So it's today at 3.
As I'm opening up my phone to confirm.
It's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay.
Yeah.
So
which is 1 p.m. my time.
Edmonton. Yep.
Edmonton time.
Yeah. And I will be there. I will repost it because I think I already have it up, but I'll repost. There's a whole general session. It's for a summit that's at the end of October that I'm speaking, Nancy's speaking, quite a few people, Sandra Pelly, Tammy, who spoke about hoarding.
D. Rose is speaking on that one too, I believe.
So
do I have the right summit? Maybe not.
It's at the end.
Yeah. There's a lot of beautiful people speaking on summits right now. And that's where, Kitty, when we are talking about the Meteor show right now, please, everybody, tune in to what the wee people are talking about. Because we weebles are wobbling. And we are talking about things that matter more in the personal arena and how that affects the collective arena. Because as a mom, if I am more peaceful, my family is more peaceful. I won't engage in those fierce discussions. If it goes to an argument, I don't even know it's an argument because I've already left.
Dee's is tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Excellent.
again, holistic fitness. And it is really important as you look at this Meteor show. There's a lot of information out there, but part of this information is for you to tune in what makes sense to you. You know, there is not one person out there who knows you better than you do. One of the things I posted yesterday I thought was absolutely brilliant. A gentleman talks about when you were born, you signed up to take care of the human that you are. Believe
Oh,
it. You
oh, I
are,
love that.
yeah, I'll send it to you. It's really, he said, you signed up for this human. Yes, you have all these other energetic things, but this is the one and only person who can take care of this human you are bringing into this world. And so when this Meteor show shows up, you can't watch the whole show, but you are drawn to watch pieces of it. And so, you know, it's very hard when, for me, I'm going to own this, when I meet people who have real no interest in learning more about themselves. I've got my rules, and that's how. Now, is that truly who they are? I don't know. Is
That's a
that a
stick
fear
in the mud.
response? Yeah.
Stick
Well,
in the mud.
is it a fear response? I don't know. It's not, and guess what? It's not my job to figure out why they think that.
No,
Yeah.
no, no, and, the sticks in the muds make a great fence.
Yeah. I
Sticks
say
in the
that about
mud
our body
make a
too.
great
Who
fence.
knows more about your body than you, right?
Mhm.
Um, And exactly. And your body is all of these parts of your body. This is your human. This is that divine connection, Joanne, that you're always talking about. This is that whole energy of this is what I'm in charge of. This skin, this whole body, the soul that I've encompassed in to move this body through, the people I'm drawing to me to be interacting with. When that Meteor show shows up, how am I, this human, going to respond to the show? You
Oh my
know?
gosh, it is so true. I remember this is a few years back, and I received a notice in the mail in regards to payments on an account. And I'm like, no, I paid that bill. I absolutely paid that bill. It was a utility bill. And I was like, "Don't you cut my power, my" it was my power because I was still living here. "You cut my power off, and things are gonna go sideways," right? So I went through my bank records, and I, went and, like, I mean, I was just, "These are the payments that I made. These are the dates that I made them on. I have my bank records." Nothing. So I ended the call with the utility company, and then I called the bank, and the bank checked. And she said to me, "Can you please read me the account number on your notice?" So I read her the account number 123456. And she said, "I would like you to turn to this tab on your computer screen, and I'd like you to read me the account number to which the payment was made." And I'm like, 4220. Oh, oh, I paid to the wrong account. I've been paying to my mother's account, who was no longer living at that place. So it was sitting in limbo. And all I had to do was call back to the utility company and explain the situation. Everything is situational and experiential. It's a situation and an experience. It's up to you to understand it, whether that is your own chart, your own country, and the way that it is structured, and the way that it is led, misled, whichever way you see it. Tune into the exact information and don't just become that, what do they call it when you're commenting on other people's posts and you're just like, and you like you're an armchair critic. Dig in. What do you know? And if Kitty said something that I didn't agree with, I would seek first to understand
Mhm.
and then be understood. Important.
Well, it goes, if you ever start your sentence with, well, I know she was, stop yourself. I never, ever, ever know why somebody does anything. I can assess, I can judge, I can
Deduce? Deduce, is that
deduce,
the word?
I can em empathically pick something up, but, you know, do I know for sure what? No, I can't.
Mm-mm.
Nobody sees what I can see, for back of my eyes there's only me, and nobody knows what I can know, for I am the one who hears my soul,
Yes.
you know,
Beautiful.
and so when I acknowledge that, like you said, take responsibility for it, then the only thing I can do is seek to understand how I'm reacting to it and
Mhm.
ask them, "This is how I'm feeling. How are you feeling?" Um, you know, I see D wrote Grand Rising.
Isn't that beautiful?
Mhm.
Because good morning, change it to Mourning, and it's not the rising of the sun. So
Well, and it
that's
turns out that that was a term used in slavery. If you
did
look up
not know that.
it was Joanne who said to me about MOUR, and then I went to look and I found out there's another whole story behind that. And so I just say hello now because I years ago I understood that when you say hello, whatever language it is, eyebrows go up, eyes smile when you say hello. Every human beings have the same visceral physical way when they are truly greeting.
I'm
Yes.
taking my first beginner Spanish lesson. I've done Spanish many times with lessons, but and I have a friend who is teaching Spanish. He is from Cancun, and his wife here in Canada is helping him. And I've got my first Spanish paper lesson. So I will say buenos dias or hola.
Hola. Hola is such a happy one. Hola.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Hola. Especially when you're walking down the Malecon and you're in Mexico. Hola, hola. Everyone says hello when they're on vacation.
Yeah.
Pretend that you're in vacation land where you are,
Well,
just for joy.
and when you realize that there is a universal physical visceral reaction across cultures for greeting that's on the face, that was fascinating to take a look to really take a look at that.
I want to shine a spotlight on something because I have something coming up very exciting with you.
Yes.
What's that? Please
So
tell everyone.
we have Saturn returns at the end of our 20s, the end of our 50s. It's actually almost the middle of our 80s. Just has to do with the shape of Saturn's um, uh, orbit. And a solar return is that's our Saturn return. Those are big times. But every year we have a solar return. And a solar return is where is the sun and the planets in regards to my map when I form my next year. And in a solar return, unlike a natal chart, the rising sign takes big precedence because it's about what you're bringing to yourself this year and the new conversations. So we're all the same on the bottom. Our relay system is laid at an angle, and the solar return, think of it as your upgrade to your system that comes in that your
Oh,
phone doesn't.
so it's like Nance OS 55.
Right, yes, Nance OS 55. It's why you shut your phone and let it upgrade. It brings new energy in to your natal chart, for your lessons for that year, and how it's, laid out has to do with how the year progresses, what the houses are in the areas of your life. You can, see from a solar return the busier parts of your year and the kind of slower parts of your year. You can see, is this a lot more internal stuff this year, or is there stuff coming to me this year on
Yeah,
that's
their
above
meteor
the
is coming,
horizon?
or is it more of an internal
Right. And
meteor
it's
show?
calculated um on it's calculated on where you are on your birthday. So again, where are the planets in the stars in the sky
And
compared to your natal?
I love how when you and I were preparing for that, I'm like, "Okay, let's make a date." And you're like, let's wait until it's closer to your birthday." And I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna be home for my birthday." And well, let's just wait. And I'm like, my immediate head went to, is someone planning something for me? I need to be at home. My book is launching on the 9th, and I've got a speaking event at the 10th. I'm gonna be home. No surprises, y'all. You can save the surprises for Thanksgiving weekend. I'm prepared for that. But that's where my mind went to, and then I had to hone that in. Nance, USA, USA. Chill.
I've had many people who had a plan, but something in life had a different plan. They had to go
Diarrhea.
somewhere. One of the most interesting ones I did is my friend Donna last year, who we're doing your, and I know you're attending. Yay, the Abundant Soul.
I started reading The Abundant Soul this morning. I'm so excited.
Um, and she left Greece and traveled all the way to California on her birthday. So I was like, so I had to have like the times. I had to have the times and the time zones because I went through different energy lessons and I was like looking this up. It was fascinating to do. So
Wow.
it was a
Wow.
fascinating solar return to do.
It's
So,
my 55th birthday this year, so Freedom 55. Woo woo.
and you're getting ready for your Saturn return. You are coming into, and your Saturn return is a big restructuring. That second Saturn return is very much about the third act of your life, at
Act 3, cool.
act
How many
three of your
acts were
life.
when in Spirit just showed me Shakespeare? How many acts were there in a Shakespearean play?
Usually three, I think. Most plays are three. I think that's the average.
I'm gonna look up that I'm gonna look up the Shakespearean they suggested on my own because I'm not sure what happens.
Which which one did they say?
Hamlet.
Hamlet. Um, and that's a tragedy. Um,
Well, it depends on the way you look at it.
well, the beginning of it's a tragedy, but that's what it's about. Um,
Yes. Yes.
and
Oh, one of my favorite movies of Hamlet too was oh, such a good looking man. Braveheart man. Mel Gibson.
mhm.
Mhm.
um, my favorite Shakespeare play is probably Twelfth Night. It's a comedy. It's very fun. And it's about a woman who dresses as her brother and then falls in love with a man. And it's just it's such a comedy. Um,
Oh gosh, I remember when I wrote a paper on Romeo and Juliet, and it was a great paper. It was in grade 10, and it was in summer school in grade 10 actually. Let's correct this. Yeah, because I didn't attend much of grade 10 in regular school. That's in the memoir. You can find out about that. And so I wrote about it in the summer school, and I learned about punctuation and periods and paragraphs and the beauty of those spaces between words. So I wrote about how Romeo and Juliet, like how much of a patsy Juliet was, like what a stupid decision and why. It was an argumentative essay. It was so much fun.
for a dude, come on, you know. um, so you know, it
Mm.
um, yeah, I just it's such an interesting time in this meteor show of what the lights are that are coming, and uh, I think my favorite play
Maybe
with
maybe
Mel.
Mel's gonna see this. Mel Gibson, calling Mel Gibson, just in case anybody knows Mel.
My favorite Mel Gibson is actually the one with Julia Roberts, A Pelican Brief.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, where
That's a
he.
good one. My mom loves, Julia Roberts, so we've watched
Well,
many
I
movies.
liked the slightly off-centered character he played.
Yes, yes. My mom loves the movie The Help. That's her fave.
Oh, that's a fun movie.
Pie? Oh my god.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So during this meteor shower, make sure that you take time to shift down into your own time and space reality. What matters is your life and the frequency that you're giving off. Be careful what you buy into and read and absorb and digest and all of
Yeah. It because it is your reality. So as the lights are coming, are you aligning with the ones you're drawn to, or are you trying to make your life be somebody else's life? That's
that.
not an easy
Mhm.
thing. One of the things, oh, that's what I started to say. I've come to this about my particular Mars energy is um, finding out about a concept called the parentified daughter. Um, very interesting because the basic beliefs that I was taught.
Oh, is this through Mary Magdalene?
No, this is actually I just found this, a parentified daughter is is a child, a daughter in particular, who takes on a parent's role young, and therefore and that's a very patriarchal structure because it
Yes.
used to be that the oldest daughter often didn't marry, took care of the family, or had to marry to move the family forward. They were kind of a chattel. They were considered property, and so
I was the only child whose mother became disabled at 10.
so
So
you yeah,
I was
yeah.
like the golden cow in many ways, right?
Mhm. Right, and it's I will send you this thing. It is very interesting to learn about a parentified daughter, especially because often we look outside of ourselves for because we were never seen. And so we spend a lifetime looking to be seen and
My,
figure that
my,
out.
my. I think we're gonna be having an upcoming episode
Uh,
the bank,
parentified, yeah,
about the bank and the spank.
the
Just
bank,
saying.
the bank and the spank. Okie dokie. So look at how fast this time has gone. It's
Again,
whipped by.
I love
So
it. What a blessing. What a blessing. Always with you, Katie. Thank you so much,
thank you,
and,
Nance. I really enjoyed this.
yeah, I do too. I really do, and I love how we ping pong off each other for talk show ideas, and your excellence in astrology just is such a blessing to me and everyone who is listening.
So, well, thank you. And thank you.
Welcome.
I so understand about more about recovering joy, So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, everybody, peace
love
out.
and rock and roll. Woo! I just posted um oh I got I before we go, you'll my uh, musical friend, I just posted this. It is the 38th year, 1986, that Labyrinth by David Bowie was released
Wow.
today. So I posted it on my own
Wow.
page. That was
Wow.
such a great, yeah.
Oh, hey, quick question for you. I have two dear friends on my that were in a meeting for my kick-ass accountability group, Christopher and Cheryl. I mentioned to them that there was a new movie on Netflix, could be Prime, about the Tragically Hip. Do you know what that band is? Oh
Mm,
my gosh.
no.
Gordon Downey, the lead singer of the Tragically Hip, was one of the most magical is one of the most magical musicians in all of Canada because of the legacy that he left behind. And what happened, as we were talking about meteor showers, because the Hip stayed with a Canadian record um, maker
Mhm.
and did not go to the American record maker who wanted them later on. There was a story told about how the Tragically Hip failed in America while they were on tour in America, succeeding.
There's I'm just looked it up, Tragically Hip, 1984, Kingston, Ontario.
Mhm.
1984 was
New
quite the year.
Orleans is sinking, man, and I don't wanna swim. Swim! Got my feet up on the river, my hands back up in the banks, and I could be slaughtering these words. I do that at karaoke all the time.
and they're right there in front of you. Well, the other day I had a aha moment. I was listening. You know who Rick Springfield is, right?
Oh. Oh, from the daytime
Jesse's
drama?
Girl. Yeah. And General Hospital. He was on General
Right?
Hospital. Yeah. Um, and he has a radio show on Sirius XM 70s, 7 on 70s. And he was playing this list from it was supposed to be from 1980, 79 and 80, all right? And he's like, "Do you remember this one?" And he's playing all of these and I'm like, "I was only 20 years old. I don't know any of these." Turns out it was the Australian top
Oh
hits.
gosh.
And so I had no paradigm. So as you're talking about this Canadian, there is, and sometimes we have to remember that there is.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
There is. There's that paradigm. This is what you have been told. This is what you have believed. And when the information is given to you, there's an opportunity for a paradigm shift.
Yes.
It's up to you to be willing to shift.
Well, and without knowing that, I'm like, where was I when this song is? Where was I? And it was on the fifth or sixth song that he said, "We're playing the Australian top." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Because they start with number, I think it was 15. They were doing the top 15. So
Oh my gosh.
certainly 15 on the Australian chart was a good chance I wasn't going to, but I didn't know like five of them. And I was thinking, is this an alternate universe? Is this ultimate paradigm shift? Like what? No,
I'm sure that was a vitamin B capsule I took this morning.
I was 20 years old. I know I had the radio on, and none of this is, I'm driving down the road going, I've arrived at a new timeline.
Oh my god, that is so funny.
Well, and on
So
that
funny.
note, you know, we'll say goodbye to
Yes.
everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. See you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to end stream. I want to, yes, I do. I want to end stream. It's different than Zoom. I sometimes get